Hey, so how do you play never-ending runs? How do you not stop? How do you gain the ability, the skill to just keep on keeping on? Because that's crucial, right? You don't want to play a run and then suddenly you can't do anything. You just stop and then you have to pick it up again. That sounds weird, right? And that creates an uncertainty within you if you don't know how to just keep on going. And in this video, I'm going to give you a simple exercise that if you do it enough, it will never happen again. It's all about creating a platform that you can stand on. Like an engine, like you're driving in a car and you want to stop the car, but you don't want to stop the engine. What is that for you when you play a run? And when I got this idea, it was like, eureka, I can do this. I can learn to do this. And the secret to doing it is creating a loop that you are so good at. It's the same loop every time. It's just one loop. And because it's one, you can become so good at it and you can make sure that it's easy to stay there. So you're playing a run and then the brain says, I don't know where to go now because I'm running out of scale shape. I can't remember what comes next. And then because you've been training it into your brain, you just immediately go to your platform, your loopable little lick that you just go into. So instead of stopping, you go into the loopable lick. Instead of stopping, you go into the lick, right? You replace that response in the brain with, oh, uncertainty, bam, you're into the loop. But in order to create that connection between playing a run and then bam, going to the loop every time you feel uncertain, you need to practice it over and over and over again at a slower level of speed than fast, right? Excuse me. So, what is that loop for me? Well, I have one loop with one variation that I use, and you can't hear it when I play. So it's not like, oh, here comes his loop again, right? Because I'm so quickly into it and out of it at the level I am at now that you won't even hear it. But here's the loop. Let's just, in this case, in this jam track, we're in the key of G minor, and the first chord being played in the jam track is the G minor chord. So you just play G natural minor with your home bass, your secure notes being the G minor arpeggio. Then we go to the D major chord, which changes the G minor scale to the G harmonic minor scale, and you want to have, if you want to have that really neoclassical sound, you want to have the G flat diminished arpeggio that you focus on within that G harmonic minor scale. If this doesn't make sense to you, look it up, right? But, so, first position here, you can follow even if you're on an acoustic right now. So pick up your guitar. This is my loop. This is what I use every single time, and that you almost can't hear because it's more of a concept in my brain and body than it is really something I play a lot. In the beginning, I played it a lot, and then you play it less and less and less as you get better at it. But I'm just playing 4 notes up and down, so I start here sometimes. I have these 4 notes, and I'm in the first position, G minor, natural minor scale. I have the 3rd, the 4th, and the 6th fret on the B string. And then I have the 5th fret on the G string. But this could be any string. I'm just playing 3 notes on one string and then 1 note on the lower string. Right? And in the previous lesson, we actually had a run that utilizes this little concept here. So it's a good run to practice, but practice this loop first. So it's simply, I'm picking my way from the 3rd to the 4th to the 6th with alternate picking, down, up, down, and then I'm pulling off down to the 4th fret and down to the 3rd, picking the note in the 5th fret on the G string, and going right back to the 3rd fret on the B string. Upstroke on the G string 5th fret, and then downstroke in the 3rd fret. Pick again, and then pull off, just up and down. Now, why am I using a combination of alternate picking and pull-offs? It's because if I were to play this little loop only with hammer-ons and pull-offs, only picking when I go from string to string, then if I play this fast, it's easier to get left-hand fatigue by looping that for a long time if I only do hammer-ons and pull-offs. But if I pick some of the notes, I ease up the pressure on this hand because it can relax for those notes that I'm picking. And the right hand doesn't have to do alternate picking all the way. It doesn't have to do... Which could, mean fatigue and extra focus on both hands here. So the loop has to be something that you can easily play. that you don't get tired of playing. Because it has to be, like a platform you can stand on and then take a break there and then move on, right? And then you spend less and less time there until you can't really hear what you're doing. If I have to stay there, though, for a long time, I have a little variation I can put in. I play, instead of just playing 4 notes up and down, I use an extra hammer-on in the 4th fret and pulling off down to the 3rd in the middle of it. So I go. So when I have done my 2 pull-offs, I hammer on again to the 4th fret and pull off down to the 3rd. So I go. Right? And you need to practice if you want this, and you can totally take it. It doesn't influence your playing style in any way. It's just a little platform you can stand on. Then you must go from playing and then to kind of go back and forth between the two. And because it's out of time, it's a really cool thing to. I can just use this as a fast little run in and of itself. I don't have to use anything else for that. Yeah. Right? The cool thing is that I can put this in between anything. Doesn't matter where I am. And the way I practice doing that is, when I started practicing scale shapes, I went up and down the scale shape like most people do, which is relatively ineffective if you want to learn the shape. But it builds a pattern within your fingers. And then if you can stand on a platform between going up and down the scale, then what happens is that you can pretty much put that platform in wherever you are. So whatever you come from, whatever sequence or run, or whatever, as long as you have 3 notes on one string and 1 on the lower string. So what I practiced doing was simply to go up and down. Let's say we got the. Okay, so now I'm doing it on the top string. When I get to that place, okay, now I'm going down to the 2 middle strings and doing it there. And then the 2 lower. Or I can do it on the G and B, right, when I get to that place. And it doesn't matter when you play it, you just fit it in there. So you go down the scales, like if I go, doesn't matter where you put it in. It just has to fit in there like a flow. It's like going up the staircase. You go up to number 5, and then from 5, that's your high point, because then you reach, or let's say you go 6 up. That could be your start, right? Because now you have your 4th finger and can go pull off. Right? So I go up to the top note on the D string, and then I can pull off, and start my. Oh, I can start it in my mind when I'm hitting the lower note on the string. So I can go. Oh, sorry, what the. Right? You have to play around with it so much and put it into these scale runs so much so that you have that platform. And the way to do that, the way to take the biggest step is point 1, to learn the loop so it's easy. Point 2, to take it in just a plain scale run and then put it in whenever you are, in the scale. The 3rd step is to say, okay, now, and you must come out of it again. You must come out of the scale run, right? The 3rd step is to incorporate it into more complex runs. So if you have another lick, like, you start messing with that, like. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going. That's the next note in my sequence, but instead of going, on with the sequence, I have the top note on any string that has 3 notes, and I go. right? So I go. And then you start putting it, every time you practice a new sequence, a new run, you practice using the platform with that run, right? Another little tip here before I end this session is that you can also use it as a way of ending your phrases, which is really cool. But I'm going to teach you that in the next lesson. So hang on for that. These concepts here are very few, but they're very effective. They will solve really problems that will haunt you for the rest of your life if you don't do this. Some people do it intuitively. They just learn it because they're lucky to pick the right method, and they don't know what method that is. It just seems easy to them. That's what we call talent. But it's really just, intuition. But if you know what it is and how to practice it, you can really get the most amazing results in the shortest period of time without having that luck or intuition, whatever you want to call it.